right, guys. Everybody know Ryan? If you've never been here and you don't know Ryan, Ryan was half of the dynamic duo of Ryan and Scott, who every single week at the Y showed up, set up chairs, did all the stuff that we needed to do. And now we don't have to do any of that stuff anymore concerning the chairs. So he's got some awesome news for this morning, and we'll be flashlighting you when time's up, okay?
Got it. How y'all doing? Man, oh man. I do, just totally off script. I don't know what to do with my Saturday nights anymore. There was this one point in time I knew what I was doing every Saturday night at 8 o'clock. I don't anymore, so I sleep for the most part. And I think I like that. I like that a lot. I need it. I catch up on it. So Phil, they told me that they were going to go out. This is going to be their anniversary weekend. They're going to celebrate 23 years of marriage. Happy anniversary. And they were saying, hey, look, we need someone to fill in. And apparently they've asked me to do the transition that old lover boy over there just did. And I run my mouth a lot. So they said, oh, Ryan, you've got some stuff. You just need to just fill in. And I was like, okay, we'll figure it out. So I woke up this morning and I said, I think I might have some stuff. We'll see. I've made it a point. I'm really big in believing that we're full. We're full all the time. So a couple scriptures that I'm going to not have posted up just because I got Scott up there doing his thing. As is he, so are we in this world. Okay? You are full. You have everything. He's already he needed you to have before you were ever known. There's a plan, there's a destiny, and you're where you are when you're there because it's the way it is. And he is 100% inside of you. You're 100% him. We are the chosen. We are full of Jesus Christ. Because of what he did, we get to go out and we get to represent him, and we have all of him. Got it? And so the other scripture is, as a man thinketh, so is he. It's kind of always confused me in the fact that as is he, so are we in this world. We're going to go out and be the light and do what he says and all this stuff. But then there's another scripture that says, as a man thinketh, so is he. So if you've ever had that thought, like I know I have, that they're not Jesus thoughts. Some people might say they're wrong thoughts or they're bad thoughts. That means that I'm bad. That means that I'm wrong. That means that it's almost contradictory to what, as is he, so are we. So it kind of makes you think, well, which one is it? What is it like? Well, how does this even flow? What is he? What are we? But we get to think what we want to think, so that's what we are now. Like, what is this all about? And to me, where I've really kind of come down to, what I broke it down to is, it really doesn't matter. It's already been set in place. We're going where we're going to go. We get to choose how we want to feel about it. Do we want today to be an amazing day, and we look at all our friends and family and just, hey, I love you. We're going to be great. Everything's going to be good. Or We can have an old crabby attitude and be a little Krabby Patties walking around the place and being angry and mad. But guess what? That has absolutely nothing to do with what he did. I stand on what there's nothing that I can do that will take away from what he did on the cross. He sealed up my salvation, my eternal salvation, where I'm going to be whenever this life ends. I'm going there because of him, not because of anything I've done or not done. My poor choices have earthly consequences. My good choices have earthly consequences. A consequence can be a good or a bad. It's an action. There's a reaction. There's some science up in there if you want to read in third grade science books. I mean, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. It's what it is. You do something, something's going to happen, good or bad. It is what it is. So, if I can take away that everything that we've been taught about Jesus was completed and finished on the cross, then what I don't have to do anything, but I get to do a lot or nothing. My choice. Okay? So that's kind of that's about the churchiness that we're going to get into today. That's about all the church stuff we got. That's the Jesus. He's in me. I'm in him. And so we're going to move forward. I've got some stuff that I've been, this last year since we started iRoof with John and Rachel, business ownership has been a peach. It's really been amazing. It's absolutely amazing. But there's definitely some growing that is taking place in my life. And I had to do it pretty quick. I didn't have to. I realized it's really cool being able to rely on, that's the boss. He's a ding dong. It's his fault. I'm just the little worker guy. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do, my 9 to 5, or I had a pretty sweet job when I was doing therapy, my 9 to 3, 3:30, 2, 4, whatever. I just did my thing and came home. In ownership, that's not the story. It's 6:30, it's 7, phone's ringing, a.m. Oh, wow, it's 8, 9, phone's ringing, p.m. It doesn't stop. And then there's questions, there's issues, there's this, there's that. So if I had to just do this, wow, what in the world is going on? Crash course in business management. That's what it is. It does not go away when you're the owner. That is for sure. And what I've really grasped is it has nothing to do with business. It's people. It's 100% people. And going back to the mind, if you can control and get a hold of what you've got going on in here, you can manage this out here so much better. But I've been taking notes over. I've been doing a lot of listening. I got coaches. I'm doing all this stuff. I'm listening. I'm gleaning. And I have never been a note taker in my life. I made it through college. I made it through high school. I made it through every school with probably 12 pieces of paper. Still got them crumbled up somewhere. I've been extremely fortunate and lucky that I don't know how that happened. There's a lot of tests that it just shows that there is a God before I knew that there was a God. That's all it is, because there's some stuff that I went through that I'm like, wow, shouldn't have passed that. Anyhow, I digress. Note number 1. I'm going to just kind of read off these little notes, and if he pulls on something, and we'll see what it looks like. Okay. Nothing can change until the unsaid is spoken. You got some stuff going on, and you don't know how to fix it. You got to pull that little backbone out and say what needs to be said to the people that it needs to be said to. It is what it is. And when that can happen with love as coming from a place of love, a lot of things can be addressed in many of the situations that we find ourselves in, that we can really can lean into, and then we can start making plans and making changes. But until you get to the spot to where you can say your piece and say your mind, you just got to be comfortable with the ride, because it's not going to change. Okay, so and until you talk to the subconscious mind, you're just talking at someone. So when you're having that conversation, when you finally get to a spot, you've got to get to the spot where you can speak to the subconscious mind, the mind that is actually able to receive what it doesn't want to hear. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So when you come back to get to that subconscious mind, because you have this change you're wanting to bring, you got to know, you've got to care. If you don't care about the person, there's no way that they're really going to receive anything that you have to say. Walls up from Jump Street. It's just where it's at. And if you think that you're going to be able to be an influence in their life or in this particular situation, how are you going to make that happen if you really don't even care? And if you don't care, then what in the world are you even worried about the change for? So where are we at? Do we care or do we not care? That's a question that comes back to the self. As a man thinketh, so is he. So where are we at? Do we really give a rip? If we do, then we got to go to the source that might be the problem in our life with a loving heart. Follow me? Do you kind of see where this is tracking? We've got to start with ourselves to get to a spot where we can go to someone else to get the problem resolved of what we've got going. See my little picture that I'm trying to paint here? Because when you do that, 90% of the time, the person that you're talking to or creating this, having this, whatever this, your circumstance may or may not be, they're going to pass judgment. But judgment is really just a defense mechanism. Judgment is not really someone trying to, it looks like they're trying to put something against you and making you look or feel some kind of way, but what it is they're really just scared, nervous, upset, in defense mode. And that almost kind of goes back to when we look at this whole churchianity thing that we've got going on, and when you're being judged, when you're being, oh, you're doing wrong. Like, those people, you gotta get to a spot where you want to feel sorry for those people, because all they're doing is defending something that they don't understand. Like, they've got their own stuff going on. So when you're getting berated because of something you're doing, something you've done, something you aren't doing, just understand that those folks got issues too. And you just got to love them where they are. If you judge, here you go. Mm-hmm. Judgment is just a defense mechanism, especially when you challenge someone's story. If you judge, your influence goes out the door. So, goes back again. I feel everything that I'm going on here, we could find a scripture in the Bible I could stand on this, but let's not judge. Let's be prepared to be judged. I mean, you got it. I'm not the scholar here. Remember, I only got 4 pieces of notes from the last 30 years of education. But where are we at? If we want this type of change, we've got to be at a spot where we're not going to hold someone, we're not going to judge people in their character for the situation that they're going through. We've got to understand, we've got to give grace where grace has been given to us. Because I feel if there's anything that I've really taken away from my growth in grace life and just Jesus in this walk that I'm on is I make it a point, I try to make it a point not to judge. Definitely caught myself doing it before. Not perfect on all this, but I before I make any type of statement or communication to someone, I put myself in the spot they're in right now. How can I go back in my Rolodex of my life, and I put myself at a spot where, I ain't got no way that I can say anything to this guy about this, because I was right here, back here as well. So I can understand, and I can actually see where they're coming from. And if I can get on the level that they're on, because I've been there as well, then I can appreciate that and then be able to come to them with some form of understanding that they want and that they're needing. I can see their view from a different level. And as I've either come up or come down in my spiral, this life that I'm on, my viewpoint has changed. But there was a time where I was just as big of a ding-dong as that person might be in this moment. So I'm not going to throw anything on them because I know what I've done. So if you judge, your influence goes out the door, and then it goes back. I'm trying to piece this together. What is a story? Because the story is what we tell ourselves. So what is a story? It's a set of beliefs you tell yourself. What is your story? What beliefs do you have that's created your circumstances, that's created your life in this moment? What is your story? What do you tell yourself? What lies do you tell yourself? What things do you say that you believe that now this is who I am, this is what I do, this is whatever, positive or negative? Because what you tell yourself isn't always the truth. How many times have you spoken to yourself? I mean, we all have that little voice. You're riding down the road, you said something cross to your wife, you've done this, you've done that, your kids got on your nerves, and you're riding down the road reflecting, and man, you are such an idiot, Ryan. Oh my God, you actually breathe. How do you even breathe? You are stupid. It's the story I tell myself. I've told myself that. That is me saying, and the sad thing is I can believe that. Therein lies the problem. Because every one of those stories that I told myself, they're all lies. I'm not stupid. I'm not a bad husband. I'm an amazing father. There's a lot without getting in too deep right now. There's a lot of things that go in here that don't line up with this. So where are we at? Do we want to believe this? Because do we want to believe the lies that we tell ourselves? Or do we want to get to a spot where we, as is he, so are we in this world? Like, let's stop believing the lies. Let's try that. What does that look like? Let's get to a spot where we can stand on, as is he, Jesus, so are we now. Yeah, I cussed out my wife, as is he. So, well, Jesus didn't do that. I know there's grace. I don't know. I can't tell you. He did it all on the cross. I get to do whatever I get to do, right? Started out in this church like that. I started out with the belief, he did it all. I get to do what I want. And I did. And what I wanted wasn't good. And it made a lot of people mad. Almost lost a marriage. But it's still true. As is he, so are we. I just had to get my mind right. I had to get to the spot to where I don't want to do that anymore. I'm not going to do that anymore. I am the righteousness of God. I am his favorite son. I do love my wife. I am an amazing father. I don't want that for me anymore. I have more. I want. And I'm going to do this, and I get to do this. And so I'm going to put this stuff behind me. So I did. And in that spot, I became, as a man thinketh, so is he. As is he, so are you in this world. And I'm standing on that. Even though I still sometimes believe these lies that I tell myself riding down the road. I challenge you to divorce the story and marry the truth. Marry the truth, who you are. Marry the truth, as is he, so are we. Divorce the lie. Divorce the story. Leave it behind. It's not who you are. You get to be so much more. Because as you think, so are you in this world. So let's start thinking this. Let's change our minds. Let's change our mindset. Let's change our thank you, Holy Spirit. Let's just get to the spot that we're going somewhere we've never been in this world. He already knows. So he's going to make sure that where we're going is going to be okay. Because the only thing keeping you from what you want is the story you tell yourself. Let's do that one again. The only thing keeping you from what you want is the story you tell yourself. What story are you telling yourself? The lie or the truth? be a creator of the life that you want and deserve. You know, a lot of the camps tell you that Jesus was this humble, poor, woe is me, didn't need anything, didn't blah, blah, blah. And I'm sure there's some truth to that. I've always questioned, though, when they say he was poor, didn't have anything, didn't have a home, didn't all this. This is the same Jesus that when was born had 3 kings from across the world come to him bringing gifts, frankincense and this and that and the other, which were at that time like what was if we called hundreds of dollars of bills. Basically look at it like this: little baby Jesus up in there and they're just doing this number to him. Bro, you got it. Like, did he spend that within the first 13 years or whatever when we popped? Like, where's that coming from? So why do we now have to feel as Christians that we have to do these meek, broken, poor, can't have anything, can't do anything mindset? King Solomon, the other king, who's Solomon's? Come on, Chris, help me out. King David. Like, these guys had. They were some of the favorites that so much of the Bible is written on, and these people had finances, and they did what they wanted to do with their finances. And you know what they wanted to do? Good things. Did they do some bad things at points? They did. But they did good things too. And so why are we at this spot where we've got to be this broken, poor, old, pitiful me type of a mindset? Let's be the creator that God created us to be, because as is he, so are we. I don't recall God being broke, poor, and disgusted. Like, I believe that he gave us the heart and gave us the power to use what he's given us for good. Like, let's get our spot, let's get our minds right that we are so much more than what we think we are sometimes. Like, we are so much more powerful than we give ourselves credit for. So let's be a creator of the life you want. What do you want? Like, let's do something radical here. Let's pull out some paper and let's write down what we want. Let's do that. What does that look like? You might write it down and, someone might judge you and say, you're being selfish there, and you're being this, and these are all things. These are all worldly things and all this. And then all of a sudden you remember judgment is just a defense mechanism. Like, why are we judging? Let's not judge anything. Let's have these things. Let's have these wants. Let's have these desires. As is he, so are we. As a man thinketh, so is he. So guess what? Those thoughts, those desires, are those your desires for you, or are those God's desires for you? Because I have 5 kids. Holy crow, I have 5 kids. But I have 5 kids. And I don't want them to be broke, busted, and disgusted. And I'm just a me. I'm not a God. As is he, so are we. So maybe I am. I don't know. But hey, guess what? I want for my kids. I want my kids to have amazing dreams and passion and lives. I've got one that's writing a book. She's wrote more pages in the last 3 weeks than I've wrote my entire college and high school days. I mean, I want her to have that. I've got one that sits there and listens to music and within 5 minutes can play said music on a piano or a guitar. Like, I need you, son, to be woe and be humble and be small and be. No, those dreams don't serve him. Those thoughts don't serve him. They don't serve me. That's not who he is, and that's not who he's going to be. I want his dreams to be big. I want him to be on a stage in front of thousands if that's what he wants. So if that's what he wants, why not? Why would our daddy have any other thought process than that? Like, why would our daddy have that? Why wouldn't he want us to want what we want? Okay? So let's write some dreams down. Let's write some thoughts down. Let's write some truths down about who we are. I challenge you. Let's do this. Let's be something so much greater than anyone has expected us to be. And let's just plan for our lives to change everyone else's lives. I started this church, or I started coming to this church 7 years ago, was it, babe? 6 or 7, December of 2012. December 16th, 2012. You can do the math. And for a long time, my family looked at me like I was some kind of weird. Because I was going to some church that did some weird stuff and had some really weird pastors and associate pastors. That's all they knew, because they heard the stories from the other. They had the murmurs, all that mummers, whatever that word is. But again, it was a defense mechanism people were having because they didn't understand. We get the opportunity to take what we receive from a place like this that allows a guy like me to stand up here with a microphone in my hand and say something. Let's try that at the building down the road. How well would this fly? Why not? If there's anything that this church has freedom stamped all over it. Whether you come once, come 1,000 times, it's your home, or you'll never see it again. We believe that he's enough, that one time is going to do something to you. Because it's not us, it's him. Let's see. The secret of living is giving. Give more than you expect to receive. And then avoid thinking, what am I getting? Ask, what am I giving? So when we get to the spot that, hey, we know who we are him, he is us, and now we want to change our circumstances. We've got to first change our mind. We've got to be able to ask ourselves, what are we willing to give? And what are we going to get out of this? What do we want to give to this? Whatever this is, whatever this circumstance is in your marriage, whatever this circumstance is with your friends, your family, your boss, your whatever. Like, what am I going to show up with that is going to create the change that's needed for my situation? Because I have it enough. I'm full. I have it all. And I have the answer when the answer is ready. So, I don't know where we at on time. I think we're right here. Did I make it? Did I make it work? We're about right there. So look, guys, once again, Phil and Jonna, happy anniversary. Thank you for not quitting. Because if you had, it's amazing how lives would have never intersected because of two people deciding to fight and not quit. And I'm a recipient of that love. So thank y'all so much for giving me the opportunity and the time, and maybe another day, one day, someday soon. We'll see it. Love you all. Y'all have a great one.